there's supposed to be the disc for the other Colosseum should be somewhere around here. But I'm not seeing it. They said it's on Gonzab's desk, and this is Gonzab's desk. Is it a hidden item, maybe? Nope. Oh well. What is up, YouTube? I'm your friendly neighborhood Nman64, bringing you some more Pokemon Colosseum. In the last episode, we finished exploring this area. We got a couple more updates about potential shadow Pokemon appearing. They are going to be appearing at a Colosseum known as the Deep Colosseum, if I'm not mistaken. We have... Alright, so... And I also fought somebody off-screen. Accidentally. It was a Cypher Peon... Arton. It was the Delibird one. Okay, so we already have him, so that's fine. We're missing Smeargle, Ursaring, and Quilava at the moment, as well as Murkrow. But there are, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 more Pokemon beyond that we have to acquire. Now, while we're here at Gonzap's and Team Snag'em's base... Oh, hi, Dioj. I do plan to see... Isn't this the guy we already fought? I'm like 90% sure we already fought this guy. Well, either way, we're about to find out. Surf and Thunderbolt. Now that Static's level 60, I'm going to consider removing him and letting somebody else have a chance to shine. Perhaps Icarus. I don't want anyone to be underleveled or overleveled, so we're just going to give... We've given Static his time to shine. We've given Crookie his time to shine. I think it's time we let some of our other Pokemon get some appearances. I feel like I feel like this is the first guy we fought. Alright, so I believe the Masquerain is immune, which I'm fine with. Thunderbolt, the Masquerain, and Surf. But yeah, I was trying to see if I could let the other guy show up. Try to find the thing at Gonzap's thing, but I think we have to get it after we face Gonzap again. But I don't know when he's gonna spawn up again, which is the weird thing. Static, you're doing your job. We will you, and we will you. It's not like it matters. Come on, Crookie. That's a dead Fortress. I feel like this is the first guy we fought when we got here. I know we fought Scrub. I know we fought another guy. We just fought the other one that I didn't mention. It's very confusing. But either way, this is how we're going to get the chick with the Murkrow to respawn. We are still looking for the Quilava guy, and we're still looking for Gonzap, because I know he has one. If they are not here, we're just going to go right back to the Under and start the Colosseum fight in there. Maybe we have to beat that Colosseum in order to get Gonzap to show up again. Excuse me, Baldy. Thank you. Big guy's still going to be over there, so we're going to head this way. Excuse me, pardon me. We don't have to fight you again. Moment of truth. Not here. Okay. So I'm guessing they're saving him for the Under then. the deep under. So let's head to the regular under. And we'll take part in a couple of Colosseum battles. So we can get some pretty useful TMs, too. Yeah, this is where the TMs the game gives you start to, like, really show their potential. Like, we've gotten some decent ones so far, but now this is where the really good TMs start to show up in this Colosseum. Alright, since we've given these two the time to shine as long as we have, and I don't believe there are any Shadow Pokemon in this particular area, we are going to pop in Icarus, and we're going to pop in Mirage, so we have enough type coverage for both. And then we'll shuffle in DJ Spins and Ansem as needed. Alright. I would love to enter the knockout round. Let's go. And while I enter the knockout round, I do have some Q&A questions that have been asked of me lately that I would like to show off for you guys. So without further ado, let's start answering questions and battling some Pokemon. The first question I got is, obviously they're all going to be anonymous, because they're messaging me from their Facebook pages, so I'd rather not give out someone's name unless they ask me to. The first question is, what is your opinion on the merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers? And I'm not going to get too into the political aspect of this, but I will say stuff like this is specifically why you need to have regulations against stuff like monopolies. Because honestly, when you look at it this way, you now have, with Netflix absorbing Warner Brothers and all their content, you now have 4 media areas to run everything. That being, you have Netflix and Warner Brothers as their big thing. You have Paramount/CBS, NBC Universal, and to add insult to injury after that, now you have, and then the NBC Universal, you have Paramount, you have the Warner Brothers Netflix merger, and then you have the Disney/Fox/Hulu thing. And you're down to now 4 media companies in the country that own all of the channels, they own all of the things. It's not good for business. But given how Warner Brothers has repeatedly shot itself in the foot the last 10 years, I think they needed something more along the lines of a shakeup to bring in different guys. But similarly to what Michael Eisner and Frank Wells did for Disney. But let's be real here. That's not the trajectory business is going in. Business is going in more money going through less people. And it's inevitable. So me complaining about it really isn't going to fix anything. So, yeah. Second question. This one's more Christmas related, which is nice because it's the holidays now, but this is probably going up in late January, early February. But hey, I am nothing if not practical. This question is, do you traditionally have foods that you eat around Christmas, or do you guys just have just order as you see fit? Or you eat as you see fit, sorry. For a while, we did have stuff that we traditionally ate every Christmas, and frankly, it gets a little boring because when you have the same meals for Thanksgiving that you do for Christmas, it just starts to get annoying. Like I know my dad can never have enough turkey, so like he could have the Thanksgiving turkey every day of the year if he needed. Or, like, as many days in the year as possible. Like, I'm not that type of guy. I need variety, personally. But for a while, but for the longest time, that was what we had for dinner. We had like turkey, stuffing, all that, and we had that on Thanksgiving. To have it 2 times within the span of a month can get a little annoying. Now I know I've mentioned this story before. I think Christmas 2020 I mentioned it most recently. October 2011. 2011 was a pretty rough year for my family. I don't want to get into too much detail, but let's just say it was not easy. My mom, we're on our way home from a family function. My mom had been stressed out of her mind up to that point, and she said she needed a vacation. Now this is October, so to have her jump up and say, "Why don't we go to Disney in December?" I'm like, it was a complete shot in the dark, but I didn't know anything about planning, and anything that I know now about Disney, I knew nothing of back then, because I was only 16, so I really shouldn't have, or 15 going on 16. So I really shouldn't have had any particular knowledge of all of that. But we ended up staying 9 days at the Dolphin Hotel, the Walt Disney World Dolphin. It is a hotel owned by. I think it's still owned by one of the guys that worked with my dad's business. We didn't get a discount for it, but yeah, but in general, it's not a Disney-owned hotel, but it does get many of the perks that Disney hotels have, which is like their own personal access to the parks, buses. They were deluxe resorts, so you got to do all the deluxe perks that came with those. But yeah, it was one of those. But one of the things that popped up is my mom didn't think we needed reservations for dinner that for Christmas. She figured, oh, we just go and get whatever. Not only were all of the quick service lines like insane, and like more insane than you could possibly fathom. All of the sit-down restaurants, there was no room. Everything was jam-packed. So for Christmas dinner in 2011, I had popcorn and the soda, and my mom had popcorn and margaritas. But rather than be angry or ticked off, we chalked it up as a great memory. Like, who else gets to say, hey, my first Christmas in Disney World, I got to have popcorn and margaritas for dinner. So, like, yeah, we chalked that up to that. Naturally, the days that followed, we had a lot easier. The days afterward, we had a lot easier access to foods and dinner and all that stuff. So fast forward to 2012, and it's obviously not going to be the same Christmas because my mom shelled out like thousands of dollars for that Disney trip. So instead, we're having an at-home Christmas vacation, and we'll go Swift, and we'll go Dragon Breath just in case. And this is a Christmas where Mild and Pebbles and their dad were going to be coming over. And now they came over at most Tuesdays. So like after school, they'd come over, do some homework, we play some video games, play some games outside, have dinner, then they leave. But my uncle said we can have anything we want for dinner. And my mom and my sister are huge fans of his chicken franchise, so they said, well, why don't we do that for dinner? But the other three of us are not big fans of it, and when asked what we wanted for dinner, we said we want bacon cheeseburgers. So Christmas 2012 was the bacon cheeseburger / hot dog / chicken franchise Christmas. And since none of us had school coming up that day, or the next time afterwards, we had a blast from pretty much mid-noon all the way to like 8, 9 o'clock at night before they had to go back to their moms. Playing video games, watching specials, having great food. It was a blast. And then Christmas 2013 was another rough 2013 was another rough year for the family. Most notably because my grandfather passed very suddenly and unexpectedly, which really hurt us. And that Christmas, we wanted it to be what we call a comfort Christmas. And the comfort Christmas has more or less been what we've done every Christmas since. Instead of it being like, oh, everybody gets dressed up and we have nice food and stuff like that, it went to we don't have to have like the big food. We can eat pretty much whatever we want. So for Christmas 2013, we had tacos, homemade tacos where we cooked our own beef and chicken and all that, cheese, tomatoes, sour cream. You get the drill. And for the most part, it's generally been tacos when we have Christmas dinner. On occasion, we've had a couple of different things. Like, I know we had like a sheet pan chicken one year. I think it was the first year my stepfather was involved in Christmas with us. One year we had it catered. My dad is very traditional, you know. He wanted his turkey. And my sister was hosting but didn't want to cook anything, so we had it catered. And then this Christmas, most recently, we did fondue. Where my grandmother made 3 different types of fondue. The first was pizza fondue, which is like cheese, sauce, and a little bits of stuff that you'd put on pizza. Then we had a cheese one. We had a cheese one where it's like the general cheese fondue with bacon, like beer cheese. And we obviously dipped like pieces of Italian bread in there. And then for dessert, we had chocolate fondue, which we dipped fruits and pretzels and cookies and all that stuff into. After having appetizers of like the usual Italian fare that we have. Soppressata, provolone, salami, pepperoni. You guys get the drill. But no, though, that's just one of the many, many, many types of things that we do around Christmas food-wise. We want to have comfort Christmas, more or less. Like, if we're doing Christmas, we don't want it to be all rigid, tradition, all that. We're not a very extremely, like, social standing family. We are a very intimate family. And that's the purpose of it also. We have our cash, and we get TM37, which I believe is Sandstorm. Doesn't really help us here, but whatever. Let's go take on another Colosseum. And in the next episode, we'll do a different Colosseum. Alright, so we'll move on to question number 3. Let's see. Okay, that one's not a bad one. After you finish Links Between Worlds, do you plan on doing any more writing for your Crimson Fury story? I can't guarantee that there will be, and I also can't guarantee that there won't be. Now, for starters, I'm still not done with it. I am the worst writer in those regards. But I wanted to finish this stuff first. Like, I want to finish as much recording as I can first, and then the rest of my time off, I'm going to spend as much time as possible writing. Now, I'm further up than you would think I am in the story, but I do obviously still have to catch up on some aspects. But after that, I do have a couple of things in mind that I would like to write, but nothing, like, super drastic. Like, I have One of the things I want to do is I wanted to do a second slice of life type story where we just tackle normal everyday issues and it's not the end of the world. Because I think Arcane has been through enough stuff over the last few stories. I think they deserve their opportunity to rest and recover and recuperate and all that crap. Please don't hit, thank you. The other thing I was working on is I was actually thinking about doing a mystery dungeon style parody spin-off where it's more or less a mystery dungeon type setting where you're a human in a Pokemon's body and you're trying to figure out how to escape a series of tunnels and dungeons and all that. But I was figuring that the mystery dungeon aspect is more or less going to be something that, like, the kids in this universe do. So instead of doing Dungeons and Dragons, they would be doing something along these lines. But all the same rules of D&D would still apply, but you add a Pokemon twist to it. So you have a passive ability, you have one attack, one support move. The stronger you get, the better range of attacks you get, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to spoil who's involved in it, but in general, you could imagine characters like Penny and Tommy, and a few of them would be involved. The big story that I've been wanting to tell for a while has been the Michael Kingston story, but that one's just way too complicated. Like, even if I was able to keep all of the parts down to 30 chapters, which is what the outline is, we're talking, this is going to be 180 chapters. Now, for reference's sake, I think Dawn of Arcana is the longest thing I've written to this point, and it's at 92 or 93 chapters. Not whether you include the whether or not you include the backstory that I usually put at the beginning of these. Links Between Worlds, I'm still thinking is going to end up only being about 80 or so chapters, maybe 81, with an epilogue. But, no, it's more or less what it's going to be like. The Michael Kingston thing is going to be so long, so time-consuming, that honestly, I just don't think I can handle that right now. Because I am going pretty knee-deep into a lot of projects the rest of this year. We have the year of Pokemon coming up. I'm trying to get Dokapon Kingdom done. I'm not confirming or denying at this point when this is coming out, but I'm going to be talking with Mark about potentially expanding After Dark episodes, so we're not just doing it once a month. We can maybe do it once or twice a month. In general, like I said, I want to get as much of this done as possible, and I want to start to cut back on some projects. I have Throwback Thursday, I have the Road to Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's a lot of projects to have to worry about, so if I could finish Links Between Worlds, I think I'm going to take a pretty long break from writing, focus on getting as much of this stuff done as possible. If I can be done with Dokapon, and maybe one or two other things, I should be able to lighten my stress load, which will allow me to keep putting out better and better content for you guys. So yeah, I wouldn't guarantee that it's coming, but it's there's the possibility that it will come. But like future-wise, like we're talking maybe 2027. But no, I want to finish Links Between Worlds right now. I'm currently I'm putting the finishing touches on chapter 61 right now. Well, obviously not right at this exact moment, but You get the drill. Alright, next question. Oh, God. Another one. Alright, the next question is, how do you feel about the New York Mets offseason? I want to walk in front of oncoming traffic. That's how I feel. I hate it. I hate every aspect of the Mets offseason this year so far. Like, legitimately, I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Like, okay, so, the collapse at the end of the year is to be expected. They never upgraded their pitching good enough at the deadline. They had no pitching rotation left. Wait, no, that was not who I wanted you to do that on. God damn it! Alright, well, we're gonna have to wing it. Come on, Mirage. Frickin' course. Okay. Okay. So, hopefully... Are they just spamming Confuse Ray? They really are just spamming Confuse Ray. Alright. Alright, so, change of plans. Now, you are using the Feel Full Heal on Mirage. And Mirage is going to get rid of the goddamn freaking pig. But no, the collapse was inevitable. Now I get that. So you have to make changes to the roster. The problem is, the problems of the roster are still here. Now this is, again, as of December 26, 2025. The issues you have with the roster are still here, and they're still abundant. So the question I have for them is, if you're going to make changes, you have to... Why are you going after the people who... we will go Reflect, and we'll go Flamethrower on Masquerade, because it's got more health. Come on, Icky. There you go. They have to make changes. I get that. The question is, though, why are you making the changes you're making? If you're going to let players go in free agency, or if you're going to make trades to get rid of longtime faces of the franchise, that's fine. But you have to do something to make the roster better. You're not doing that. They went into this offseason, and their biggest need, by far, was starting pitching. So you have 3 young guys, but as you saw at the end of the year, the only one of them that's really ready for baseball time is Nolan McLean. He's got ace potential, and I'm totally fine with seeing how he develops this year. Here's the issue with that. He's the only piece you have right now. The rest of your rotation was a disaster last year. Kodai Senga was unhealthy, and when he was healthy, after the second half of the year, he was getting shelled left and right. Sean Manaea wasn't healthy all year and was getting shelled left and right. The freaking... I don't ever want to hear the name Clay Holmes ever again. He was awful from June to September, and then just because he had the miracle start of Game 161, which the Mets always have right before they collapse. John Main almost threw a no-hitter in 2007, and Johan Santana threw a complete game shutout in Game 161 in 2008. But he was awful most of the second half, so why would I want to care about seeing him start again? If the objective was to make him a starter, last year you should have had him be a long reliever. 2 innings, then 3 innings, then 4 innings if needed, and stretch out his arm that way. You can't just fling him into the rotation and be all, oh, that's not my problem. You have a team that has significant needs. So you go into this offseason, you need starting pitching. Now, their general manager was the head, well, the president of baseball ops, was the head of the Milwaukee Brewers for a long time. And he was a guy that did not like to spend money. They couldn't spend money in Milwaukee, but even when they did, they only made very small splurges. You are now the president of baseball ops of one of the richest organizations in baseball. And your solution to the roster construction that you failed to address is to completely rip apart the heart of the team and replace them with nothing. So you go into this offseason with just the need of starting pitching, and by this point in the offseason, they have holes all over the roster. They have a 35-year-old second baseman in Marcus Semien, who they got from Texas, who can't stay healthy, and his offensive numbers are on the decline. He plays good defense, but who knows how long that's going to last. You have a hole at first base, which apparently has been filled by a guy who's never played first base before. You have a gaping void at third base, which you've had for years now. Probably since David Wright got injured. And now, thanks to trading Brandon Nimmo, you now need a major outfielder. You've needed a center fielder for the last several seasons that you've refused to go out and grab. The only position, your catching core is a dumpster fire right now. Alvarez can't hit or play defense anymore and keeps getting hurt. The other guys can't hit, but they do decently defensively. You have also significant holes in your bullpen. You brought in a guy to pitch in the bullpen who was an absolute tire fire for the Yankees the previous year, and then you signed another guy who was a tire fire for the Yankees bullpen. So I can get very angry. So, in a layman's terms, TM36, I believe that's Sludge Bomb. In a layman's terms, David Stearns was on a life raft with a tiny hole in it that could be very easily patched, and his solution was to put a bomb in the thing. But then insist that they're still going to compete this year. I would love to see that happen. I know it's not. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm your friend, the neighborhood Endman64. Join me next time as we finish up here at the Under Colosseum, and hopefully start to sniff out where more of these shadow Pokemon are. Until we meet again, my lovelies, sayonara.